The AAPOR Award for Exceptionally Distinguished Achievement, the association's highest honor, recognizes lifetime achievement and outstanding contributions to the field of public opinion research. Thank you to all the members of the AAPOR Award Committee, which includes Lynn Chiat Chang, Scott Keeter, Frauke Kreuter, Jordan Pugh, Roger Taranjo, and David Wilson.
I was born in Pontiac, Michigan. My dad worked at the truck and bus plant. My mom was kind of a child prodigy. She was playing the piano when she was quite young. She was a very good musician and probably could have, made some sort of a career at it. But instead she raised us kids. My dad took me to Michigan football games when I was little. So he said he didn't go to college, but he was a real Michigan fan. And he told me at one point, you're going to go to Michigan. And I said, well, okay. And I never applied anywhere else. It didn't occur to me. So I get to Michigan. I came from this little Catholic school. Nobody I knew had ever gone to college, and I didn't think I could do it. I was scared. Or I thought maybe I can do it, but I might flunk out. So I get to college, and sure enough, in my first quarter, I get on my first midterm grade in geology, I have a C. Now I'm used to getting A's. I started going to church at 7 o'clock in the morning, to Mass at 7 o'clock in the morning, every morning. And I prayed like crazy, please don't let me flunk out. And meanwhile, I was studying like crazy, I was in the library all the time. It turns out after my entire freshman year, I have all these. Then I get into my sophomore year, and I go through my sophomore year, and I still have all these. By this time, I'd figured out that I probably don't need to go to church every morning.
Peter moved from one world to another when he left Pontiac for Ann Arbor. It was 1969, and students were protesting the Vietnam War.
I wanted to be committed to something, but I couldn't think of what it would be. I was skeptical of everything, and I think I carried that experience through over the years. I've remained skeptical about claims that people make about truth, about society, I think at the same time, it enabled me to say, well, what are good truth claims? How do we sort that out? How do we decide what evidence is sufficient? How do we know that that later on, how do we know that the American public thinks this or that? So it primed me, although I didn't know at the time, it primed me to study methodology, because it is the study of how we know things.
Peter has spent decades, including significant time in AAPOR's community, advancing our field. Of all the things he's done, what are his proudest accomplishments?
I guess I have two. I mean, I think my work on the Transparency Initiative is one. and the other is my work on the journal, on POQ. I think those are the two things where I think I've made the most difference. And I should say that these came about because I had opportunities, and the association provided me with the chance. I guess going back to what we were talking about earlier, when I was an undergraduate, and being scared to death and not knowing, I didn't know if I could do these either. I didn't know if I could do the journal. I didn't know if I could get the Transparency Initiative to first base.
He did get it to first base and then some. And now, after many years on the shore of Lake Michigan, Peter's a civil servant with the Census Bureau in Washington, where he consults with many different operations within the Bureau, and he works on outreach.
I try to, if you will, I try to show the census flag in various parts of the governmental and academic and commercial spheres, so that people understand what we're doing and issues we're facing and so forth. So I make a lot of speeches. I do a lot of presentations of one kind or another.
There's one more thing to mention, and many in AAPOR have known Peter's little secret for years. He's fixated on this distinguished gentleman. I'm sure he looks familiar to you. That's because he's famous. And Peter still struggles to find the boundary between reality and Habermas.
They come up to me and say, Professor Habermas. They think I'm Habermas, and they say, will you be doing a talk this year? And they say, or other people come up and said, how did you come to make up this guy Habermas? And so.
Will Peter Miller join me on the stage for a show of appreciation? Few people have contributed so much to the field in so many different ways as has Peter Miller. His scholarly work, his work as a faculty member and administrator at Northwestern University, his more recent work at the Bureau of the Census, and his years of service to AAPOR have all left indelible marks on the field and on AAPOR. His commitment to quality and to transparency in research embody AAPOR's highest ideals. Peter is an author of a number of papers, but his 1981 paper with Charles Cannell and Lois Oxenberg has been especially influential. The single paper laid out a model of the cognitive processes involved in answering survey questions and also noted how respondents sometimes short-circuited that process. It thus anticipated and paved the way for the cognitive aspects of survey methodology movement and the satisficing model of survey response. This was truly a seminal work. His other scholarly papers exhibit the same commitment to high quality and thoughtful conceptual analysis. Peter received his PhD in communication research from the University of Michigan, and he spent most of his career, a total of 28 years, at Northwestern University as an academic. Over that period, he held a number of posts, including teaching in the Department of Communication Studies, chairing that department, and serving as an associate dean at Northwestern's School of Communication. He was a well-respected and effective mentor to many students there, several of whom have gone on to become successful researchers and prominent AAPOR members in their own right. In 2011, Peter joined the staff of the United States Bureau of the Census, where he became the head of the Center for Survey Measurement and later the chief scientist in the Center for Adaptive Design. At the Census Bureau, Peter has been a tireless advocate for quality and innovation. His championing of adaptive and responsive design has helped move the Census Bureau forward in maintaining quality in the face of rising costs and falling response rates. Peter's service to AAPOR has been left a special mark on the association and the field. Peter was the editor of Public Opinion Quarterly for 8 years, from 2001 to 2008. His tenure at POQ was stellar. He shepherded the transition of the journal from the University of Chicago to Oxford University Press and oversaw the move to electronic submission of articles and reviews. He also introduced the research synthesis section of the journal in the annual special issues. He was an excellent editor who actually edited articles and was widely admired for his deft editorial touch. As AAPOR's president, one of his major accomplishments was launching the Transparency Initiative, which has proven to be a particularly long-lasting and influential achievement. Finally, he headed up the AAPOR committee that developed the proposal for AAPOR's second peer-reviewed journal, the Journal of Survey Statistics and Methodology. His many accomplishments have changed POQ, AAPOR, and the field for the better. The American Association for Public Opinion Research is happy to honor Peter Miller for a career marked by so many exceptionally distinguished achievements. Peter?
You know, everything that Tim just read is actually on this plaque. It's hard to believe that they could fit all of that on there. So I guess I need to thank, first of all, Jürgen Habermas, who is an actual person and famous, actually much more famous person than I am, and a distinguished German philosopher whom I bowdlerized and stole from for years in order to do banquet entertainment like this. So first, thank you, Dr. Habermas, for this award, and then I'd like to thank the members of the committee and the society for considering me and giving me this honor. It is the honor of a lifetime, so I'm extremely grateful. Thank you. I'd like to single out for your just to give thanks to a variety of people. I won't go on. I understand I stand between you and the bar, and I won't go on very long. I need to single out my family. I have 3 extremely accomplished and striking women with me this evening. My daughter, Alexandra, who planned the parade on Wednesday. We had a parade before the conference started. It was a belated birthday, but in any case, Alexandra is a principal in the firm Asakura Robinson for all of your urban planning needs, if you haven't, here in New Orleans. My daughter Alyssa is leaving high school and Walt Whitman High School in Bethesda to consider various university options that are being given to her, and she will undoubtedly continue in a successful way throughout her life. And then last but not least, my striking and beautiful wife and highly accomplished wife, Diane Rosinski. So I went to school at Michigan. I owe a huge debt of gratitude to many people there. The incomparable and irreplaceable Charlie Cannell among most certainly. At Northwestern, I owe a debt of gratitude to the School of Communication for allowing me an insufficient amount of time to do the journal and other work. And no, actually, they did give me 2 things that universities really value: space and time, and I really appreciate what they did. And I also had the chance to work with some great students, among them my good friends Daniel Merkel, Sandra, also known as Sandy Bauman, Gina Waleko and Patrick Casea, who may be, Gina's out there somewhere, Patrick, I'm not sure, way back there. And then, of course, the Bureau of the Census, where I've had a terrific home for the last 6 years. Where are all the census folks? All right, many of them back there. I've had terrific bosses. Tom Lewis is here, he's sitting right here. Professor of Biostatistics at Johns Hopkins, but before that, Associate Director of the Census R&M Directorate. And then many people who tolerate me and actually get along with me, sort of. But it's been a great opportunity that I've cherished. I guess I mentioned to Steve in the video that this is a great award. It's a wonderful moment in time. I can't tell you how grateful I am for that. But I've also been given terrific gifts that have sort of accrued over time. One of them is the opportunities I've had. I've had these opportunities to work on significant and interesting problems and to contribute. You can't ask for more than that. I've also been given responsibilities. Authors entrusted me with articles. Referees actually did reviews and sent me reviews that were thoughtful. The authors then worked with me to make useful articles, I think. And all of that involves trust, and that's a huge gift. I've also had the opportunity to work on various committees and task forces and so forth. The great gift of you all to work with you has been a lifetime of a terrific gift to me. And I love all of you, and thank you.